Hi guys, welcome to our channel Knowledge of Life.edu. In this video, I will discuss about the kinetics of the antibody responses, that is primary responses and secondary responses of immunoglobulin. Humoral immunity is mediated by serum antibodies, which are the proteins secreted by B cells, and B cells are initially activated to secrete antibodies after the binding of antigen to specific membrane immunoglobulin molecules, that is where the B cells receptor are present and which are replaced by these cells. And once bound, the B cell receives signals to being making the secreted from this immunoglobulin or antibodies, a process that initiates the full-blown antibody response whose purpose is to eliminate the antigen from the host. Antibodies are the heterogeneous mixture of serum globulins, all of which share the ability to bind individually to specific antigen. The first exposure of an individual to an immunogen is referred to as the primary immunization, and which generates a primary response. The primary antibody responses may be divided into several phases, and they are lag phase or latent phase. Lag phase or latent phase is the immediate state following antigenic stimulus, during which no antibody is detectable in circulation, and the length of this period is generally 1 to 2 weeks. And the second phase is log or exponential phase, and in this phase there is a steady rise in the titer of antibody, and the concentration of antibody in the serum increases exponentially. That's why this phase is also called exponential phase. And next phase is plateau phase or steady state. And during this phase, there is an equilibrium between antibody synthesis and degradation. And the last phase is declining phase. The concentration of antibody in serum declines rapidly in this phase. And a second exposure to the same immunogen, very focused on the term same immunogen, this result in secondary responses. This second exposure may occur after the response to the first immuno event has revealed off or has totally subsided. And the secondary response is also called the memory or anamnestic responses. And the B and T lymphocytes that participate in the memory response are termed memory cells. And the primary response is slow and short-lived with a long lag phase and low titer of antibodies that do not persist for long. However, the secondary response is promoted, powerful and prolonged with a short and negligible lag phase and a much higher level of antibody that lasts for long period. So one question can arise from this topic, that is, which responses has short lag phase or long lag phase? The answer is in primary response, the lag phase is long than secondary responses. And in these secondary responses, much higher level of antibody that lasts for long periods, and in the primary responses, antibodies that do not persist for long. And in the primary response, the first class of antibody detected is generally immunoglobulin M and then immunoglobulin G or another antibody classes, and it may IgE or IgA. And there is a marked change in the type of quality of antibody produced in secondary response, and there is a shift in class response, and this class response known as class switching, with IgG antibodies appearing at high concentrations and with greater persistence than immunoglobulin M. and which may be greatly reduced or disappears altogether. And this may be also accompanied by the appearance of IgA, immunoglobulin A or immunoglobulin E. These IgG, IgE and IgA molecules are collectively referred to as secondary class of antibodies because they are true to the produced only after antigen stimulations and because they dominate secondary antibody responses. And with the passage of time after immunizations, there is usually a progressive increases in the affinity of the antibodies produced against the immunizing antigen. And this phenomenon is known as affinity maturation. Is due to accumulations of point mutations specifically in both heavy chain and light chain variable region coding sequences. And in this video, I only discuss on the kinetics of the antibody responses, that is primary and secondary responses. If this video will help you to understand this topic, please share this video to among students. And don't forget to like our video. And please subscribe our channel and please press the bell icon to get more updates from our channel. Thank you from Knowledge of Life Edu.